This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Teach Me Pokemon, the podcast. I'm your host, Corey, and along with my co-host, Jared, we're best friends, been playing Pokemon for a very long time.
You have been weighed, you have been measured, and you have been found wanting on the Teach Me Pokemon podcast. A little Knight's Tale there for you. I'm Corey, you're Jared. As always, probably the number one rated Pokemon podcast on the planet. Easily.
You have a lot of ratings. We're the best podcast. Henry Shao, third best Gardevoir player. You may have to talk about Brent Tonneson in that list now. I don't know where he ranks.
You know what Brent won't mention the coaching sessions I've been doing with him this week, but that's fine. He said I wasn't allowed to say anything. So well, Jared, we're back with another riveting episode. We have a tournament to talk about that happened in Monterrey, Mexico. We have registrations happen this week for NAIC. We have how many people are going to be at NAIC, which is crazy. So we got some stuff to talk about. Are you ready to dive?
I'm ready, baby. Let's dive.
Okay, Monterrey. That was the only. Was it the only regionals? It was the only regionals this past weekend. 1,327 players traveled to Mexico. Pretty good for a tournament in Mexico. What was the last one that Azul won? I don't think had 1,000 players. I think it had like 800 or something, right?
Let's take a look. Yeah, it was over. The regional in Merida was 1151.
1151. Okay, so they're still growing here. So this was larger than that one. Contrast to our last regionals in Atlanta with 2 Gardevoirs, 5 Dragapults, and a 1 lone Terrapagos, which didn't have a lot of variety. This tournament had some variety to it. So I'm gonna read who won. I'm gonna read what won, or the rankings of top 8. And then I want to ask you a question about why we thought we saw more diversity in the top 8 versus Atlanta. Okay. So Brent Tonneson Brent takes it down. First place, Gardevoir. Beats world champion Fernando Cifuentes in the finals on Blissey. Fellow Chilean countryman gets third place here on a wild Terrabox deck. 4th and 5th place, a pair of Americans here, Caleb Rogerson and Grant Shen, both incredible players, were on Goldengo Dragapult. Edar, I'm saying this right, Mr. Soto on 6th place was Dragapult. Tyler Matthews, 7th place, which you were surprised by this, but if you've been playing live, you're not surprised by the Joltik box. And then 8th place, also from America, Tanner Hurley on Dragapult. So Jared, I guess if you were just to look at this, you could say 4 out of the 8 were Dragapults, but really it's not quite that easy. So give me your sense of why we saw more diversity here in the top 8.
Okay, so I'm actually, to do this, I'm going to take us back to the last tournament in Merida. And if you look at that, it did not follow what the meta was either, where first and second was Miraidon and Gouging Fire. At a time when no one was arguing that those were top 5 decks. So I think this is simultaneously a response to what we saw in Atlanta, but also I think it is, for whatever reason, when you go to Mexico, there's a different flavor of decks, even though when you listed off the players, it was very, US centric. With some Chilean, South American, and then Brent Tonneson makes sense. He's there. He's everywhere. If there's an award for most traveled player, it has to be him.
He wins.
He's there. He's there. But that's what I think. I just think this is a strange place where unique decks can thrive. Smaller tournaments also can turn out different results because they're not having to go through as many of the same decks, but there's still some uniqueness here, but I'm here for it. Don't hear me say I'm not here for it. I'm here for it. I love this top 8.
Yeah, I think it provides there's some really good talking points here. It still maintained probably what's best deck in format, which is this Gardevoir. So it's now won back-to-back tournaments, both on really, really, really good players. Not the same 60, little different between both decks, but actually kind of a lot different. And then you have kind of a spillover of all these different types of Dragon Pulse, which is interesting. The Terra Box, which we thought would be strong heading into this format, just how it performed in 2 Champions Leagues ago over in Japan. And so I think this is cool. This is a lot better than seeing 6 Dragon Pulse, in my opinion.
I agree. Diversity is always a win. It felt like we were living in the age of a one deck versus everybody. I don't think that's the case. I don't think anyone's arguing that Dragon Pulse not the best deck, but it's not the best unbeatable deck.
Sure. Agreed. Well, let's just dive. You mind if we talk about Gardevoir here for a second?
Let's go.
All right. So Brent Tonneson, who last week Jared said hadn't won a major tournament, and then we actually had to go back and correct that because he had won some major tournaments. That's okay. Sorry, Brent.
I just can't read Limitless. It's my fault.
It's Jared's fault. It's fine. If we look at his deck and we kind of take these 2 versions of Gardevoir, I call it, which is the version that really before Henry Chow won on the Zoroark variant was more of just heavy supporter line. You're not having any mechanism to really discard energy from your hand, or because there's no refinement, that there weren't running Zoroarks. And then so this version is kind of a mix, Jared, between that first version that we saw of Gardevoir post rotation and then Henry Chow's version that had the 2 Turos, the escape cart, skateboard, of those things. And so this deck, no Zoroarks in it. So that's the biggest difference based on Brent's version versus Henry's version. Brent had a Cleffa in the deck, which is interesting. 1 Cleffa just to get him some draw early if he gets stuck with a bad hand.
That's old school Tord stuff right there.
Yeah, old school Tord. You're right. Here, you can have a weird prize trade. I'm going to give you Cleffa. 3 Bravery Charms to help give it some HP, so that's not bad. If you look at his trainer count, the 1 Turo is interesting. That's where I'm saying this is like a blend between the 2 decks because Henry's had 2 Turos. Normally, these other versions didn't have any Turos. Brent said, we'll do 1. We'll do 1. But he went 4 Research, 4 Iono, the 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Stretcher. Like he was going. 2 Counter Catchers, 2 Rare Candies instead of 3, and then the Secret Box. That was his ace spec of choice. What do you think of Brent's build here? Do you like it? Are you surprised by it? Did he get lucky? What's going on?
The thing that I don't understand is the lack of the jock. Like, where is the jock here? It seems like that is the
is that in Gardevoir? I've never seen
that was in Henry's Gardevoir.
Oh, did Henry have that in Gardevoir?
Yeah, and most decks that are not obviously basic run decks because Jock is finding you 2 evolved Pokemon, that seemed to be the standard thing that people needed to do in order to find things when they were getting Badoo locked. So it seems like the additions here were more so focused on still drawing a lot, favoring the research and discard over the Mortys, getting rid of that. But it almost seems more like in terms of trainer count, just streamlined. Like it seemed like what Brent was saying is like, I'll take the draw and I'll hit what I need to hit. But also, 1 Jock versus not, you're talking about 1 card that you may or may not find. There's no Satsuguri in this list to get through supporter cards. So I don't know. It obviously the right play for the tournament, but interesting variations.
Yeah, that's true. And it is kind of a deck that may have not done so well if it had been Badoo locked, but really there were only 2 in top 8 that even had Badoo in it besides Brent's deck. And so, not having to fend through a bunch of Badoos like Atlanta when it was Badoo, probably favored this version a little bit better, like you said, without having the Jock and without having the Zoroark, which are kind of mechanisms to get around the item lock. So I think this is interesting because The next highest finisher on Gardevoir was 16th place. And so Brent this wasn't just everyone played Gardevoir and so it won the tournament. It was the fourth most played. 10% of the shares that made day 2 were Gardevoir. So it really is just a deck that we've seen if it can get the matchups. Really, that's a false statement because I think it feels good in any matchup. But if it can kind of make its way and maneuver and at least get one into top 8, it's always a force to be reckoned with to win the tournament. And then couple that with an incredible player like Brent, I think that was your formula for a win right there. So
yeah, I agree. And it's weird. Where's the next one that we see in this tournament? I mean, we don't see another Gardevoir until what, 16th?
Yeah.
So it's just,
Matthias.
It's not that it's like you said, people aren't this is not gonna be a top 1 or 2 deck, I don't think, even come NAIC. But it shows that if it can get going, it's unstoppable.
Yeah, I think it can get going. And on the right player, avoid all the ties that really kill it to get the points you need to make top 8. It's there. I think a deck that sometimes can struggle against a little bit is this Blissey deck. That Fernando Cifuentes, reigning world champion, was on this Blissey deck. What did I tell you on the phone this week? I said if Blissey was just one card away, Jared, from being the best deck in format. It was just one card away because it can move all the energies and it plays with Monkey Dory really well.
It does.
How many Monkey Dory did Fernando have in this deck, Jared? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4 Monkey Dory. It almost could just be a Monkey Dory deck with Blissey.
Well, that's what I'm surprised you're not saying. Like for years now, we've heard Lost Box is a Comfy deck with other things in it. So why are you not saying? I would like to see it switch too. I think it's that's a Monkey Dory deck that features Gardevoir. That's a Monkey Dory deck that features. It's a Monkey Dory world, Corey.
It is a Monkey Dory world. I apologize. This is a Monkey Dory deck with Blissey. Good job, Fernando, for figuring out the Monkey Dory deck. What was your solution to Monkey Dory yesterday? What did you say you wish I could do?
I would want to know because I think it's just busted.
Yeah.
I think it's the most busted card in the format right now. It even takes care of Badoo. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, which is one of our other top most powerful cards. But what I'm interested in, what I would ask the community is say, would you run Monkey Dory if it was had 100 more health and was an EX?
Yeah.
Would people still run it? Because that would put it at what? What did we say? That would put it at 210, which is kind of that Pheasantipity risk range for Dragapults and things like that.
Yeah.
Would people still run it if it was Monkey Dory EX, had 210 health, and nothing else was different?
Yeah. I've thought about that was a great question yesterday. And I think we're focusing on the HP and the fact that it's an EX, so it's 2 prizes. What we're missing is the ability to find Monkey Dory with Artisan is so important, especially in Gardevoir decks, that now you can't do that anymore because it's an EX card. So I mean, would it still be played? Absolutely. Would they rev 4 in a deck? I don't know. That's too many. I think it would be one of.
What if it was Terra Monkey Dory and now you had more opportunities to? I think that would. What if it was
and you can't snipe it then? So
you can't snipe it.
Okay, all right. All right, okay, but make it 190 HP instead of
okay.
All right.
That.
Okay, Pokemon, we got it figured out. We'll send you the thing. But yeah, dude, this deck, 7 Dark Energy. The Blissey, for our listeners that don't know, go look it up. But its ability lets you move a basic energy card from one of your Pokemon to another once per turn, though. But if you have 3 Blissies in play or 2 Blissies in play, you can do it multiple times. And then with this Rigid Band, the item or the tool card that makes stage 1 reduce their damage by 30, they take 30 less damage. Now you have to hit 330 on this Blissey. You have to one-shot this Blissey at 330. And if you do not, it's going to heal all that. Not all of it, but it's going to heal a lot of that back onto your opponent. And then it's going to smack you for 180. So it's just... It's really good. It's just I feel like one card away. But what do you think of Fernando adding Roaring Moon, the Roaring Moon tech EX into this deck? He had a one of Roaring Moon.
I love it. Like,
Yeah.
because it's something you can lay down and wreck a game with the same turn.
Yep.
And we've moved away from things that prevent effects of attacks. Nobody's worried about effects of attacks right now. I mean, yeah, you have poison coming from some of our poison decks, but nobody's actively trying to stop that poison, right?
No,
So
you're right.
something you can lay down that same turn and knock out the Dragapult.
Yeah. Incredible.
Oh,
Yeah, big time.
oh,
Yeah. When I said this is one card away, is that the one card? Like it gets you the one shot, which is the issue with Blissey. It really can't one shot unless it's moving. It'd have to move 4 Monkey Dory. That would be really hard. And then hit 180s. That would be 320. Or that'd be 300. That'd be tough. Now you get the one shot here, and brilliant. I think this is the card. I think Fernando, he might have gotten some heat for just running Iron Thorns and won Worlds. This feels like a really tactful move here from his standpoint. And a deck that Jared, you know how many Blissies were in the tournament or that made day 2? 2. And 1's in the finals. So I don't know. Kudos. I know Brent won, but I think Fernando was the most impressive performer in this tournament.
Corey, I'm worried about you.
What?
With the rise of Blissey, and I'm concerned with you in tournaments moving forward and online. I think you should seek some counseling for PTSD. I know that you have a history with this Pokemon, and this is concerning to me. This is of the utmost concern to me.
It's a stupid card. It always has been. It's just lame. You lay it down and then don't have to think. That's been Blissey the whole time. Yeah, this is sad. If this makes it to, if this is a major deck at NAIC, I might cry. That I may not be too happy about it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, third place. We got to talk about third place. The Terra Box, Jared. What is going on with this deck? What is happening here? I understand the 4 Hoot Hoot 4 Knock Towel. Get it. After that, well, I don't understand. What is all this?
Well, what I think is happening here is Caleb Rogerson has Tord Reklev in a basement somewhere. Because I don't. And is kind of put the lotions in the basket, like, and is making Tord make deck lists and then running them up that basket line.
You put the tech in the basket. Write it on the paper, Tord. Oh no!
I think that's what's happened here.
Yeah,
you made an allusion to like, this feels like a Tord deck before we got on the stream. And yes, it does. Let's try to reason through this as rational human beings.
Yeah, I'm looking for Tord. He did not make it to this tournament. So yeah, he could be in Yerso's Valencia's basement. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go through it. So
I looked at the wrong person. You're right. Correct. Yes, it would be Mr. Valencia.
Yeah. That'd be Let's not commit.
I'm so sorry, Caleb. I looked at the wrong.
Yeah, not Caleb.
You're fine. You're fine running.
Don't kill us on. You're fine running Golden Go, Caleb. Don't kill us on Twitter. Okay. Yeah, we have the Ogre Ponds in here, Wellspring, Teal Mass, and Cornerstone. All 3 made an appearance in here. The Lily's Clefairy, the Pikachu, Blood Moon Ursaluna, Mew EX, Fezandipity, Latias, a Ditto, and Terrapagos to bring us all back. This deck is a counter deck if I have ever seen one in my life. He was ready for any matchup. If it's Dragapult, he has a Lily. If it's Gardevoir, you have Wellspring Ogerpon with the sniping. That is extremely frustrating to play against, by the way. If you have Cornerstone Ogerpon that prevents being hit by abilities, let's go back one deck. And if you look at Fernando's winning deck, Fernando would have 1 card to attack him with, and that would be the Roaring Moon. and Blissey's can't touch this card. So I guess he could have hit with his own cornerstone Ogerpon. But so that was really helpful in that matchup. I think against Goldengo's Ogerpon, the cornerstone Ogerpon is also really frustrating. So I kind of wish this reminded me of oh man, I'm blanking on his name. He used to just run these counter decks all the time, like 3 years ago. Xander Pero. Xander used to run these like counter, like I'm just gonna take all the cards I have at my disposal and counter stuff. And he was really good with that. This feels like that. This really does. I don't think it'll be run a lot though. I don't think people are gonna copy this.
No, I agree. But what's super interesting is, I mean, Mr. Valencia here is a really great player. Won the Joinville Regional last year. Has a really high ranking, but it's such a departure from their tournament history. Like, big Lugia player this past year, ran it up until they couldn't run it anymore, won with Lugia. Before that, the worst deck ever created, Baxcalibur and Chien Pao. And that's what they've run, Corey, since 2022. They've run Lugia and they've run Baxcalibur with Chien Pao. So this is like a really, I mean, I think it just shows their skill, honestly, but quite a departure from what are otherwise very straightforward attacking decks.
I agree. And I'm actually shocked this wasn't in Atlanta, because I think when you don't have a big enough card pool to pull from, there aren't as many decks to have to tech for. So you can like put 5 cards in here and really feel good about all your matchups moving forward, because there's just not enough variety yet. So I'm a little shocked this hasn't been a bigger thing. But that's right. I mean, maybe he just got tired of running the same thing all the time and thought, you know what, I'm going to surprise people. I thought Brock's scouting, he ran one supporter, or not one supporter, one Brock scouting reporter. It says search your deck for 2 basic or 1 evolution Pokemon. It gives you a lot of options actually with this card. And I think it actually made sense in here, because he could find all of his tech cards, because it doesn't say like non-EX or whatever. It's any 2 basic, which is basically his entire deck. Or if he's stuck, he can grab the 1 Noctowl and then find a Nest Ball and something else if he needs to. It's a really cool card. I don't know if it fits any other decks really that were in top 8, but in this deck, I think that Brock probably was its MVP. If we had him on the show, I wonder if he would say that.
I agree. And what's the most important thing about it? It's Badoo proof, right? Like it's Badoo proof. So yeah. I love that card. I love when players can find value from cards in certain metas, and we get to look at it and be like, oh, what a great idea.
Yeah. Awesome idea. And I think if there was like a stat that, or like if there was like a ranking of, if you could put next to a card that indicated value, I think Jamming Tower would be number 1. I think he had 1 Jamming Tower. Obviously, it shuts down all item cards, but it also can push other people's stadiums out of the way. Jamming Tower is so good right now, right? April 24th, 2025. I think Jamming Tower would be at the top of a value list as far as Pokemon cards go. I think in the TCG competitive scene, I think it's that good.
I don't disagree with you. Like, you talk about who won the tournament and how many charms they had in there. And it's like that changes prize mapping so hard, because what are they trying to do? Obviously, it's there for the Drifloon, but we talked about it last week. Like, what do you do with Badoo? You throw a tool on it and you make it last longer. And to just negate all that extra health instantaneously is brutal.
Brutal. All right. Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the other surprising deck in top 8, final thoughts of Monterey, and then we're going to jump and talk about NAIC registration. Does that sound good?
I love it.
All right. We'll be right back. All right. We're back from break. And Jared, we have to talk about, Pokemon cards are great. We talked about the TCG competitive scene. We love that. But Jared, you and I wouldn't be able to do this without the help of our sponsors. And so let me click something and I can't find it. There it is. Boom. Stray collections. Mr. Ben. Ben, tons of cards, Japanese, English, singles, lots of trainer cards, booster boxes, ETBs, blah, blah, blahs, booster boxes. I'm trying to think of all the things. He has them all, Jared. If you look at the bottom, use the promo code what?
Teach 10.
Teach 10 for 10% off. Go to straycollections.com. Remember that Stray Collections with a Z.com. He has his website, his YouTube channel. I haven't been on in a minute. I got to talk to Ben. I'm a little upset. We haven't opened packs in a while.
You need to. Some great sets right now.
Yeah. Destined Rivals. I'm going to make sure I'm on there to open because, Jared, that set will be legal for NAIC. And you know who's going to NAIC?
You!
Registration was this week. For everyone in the Pokemon world, I'm sure everyone was aware. Tuesday night was Wave 1 at 7 p.m. and Wave 2 was Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. My wife and I haven't really gone on a date in a while, nor been to a concert in a really long time. And we went to a concert on Tuesday night. You know what time it started? 7 p.m. You know who had to go to the bathroom at 6:59? This guy. And I was standing in the stall. And it's always uncomfortable when people see you standing in a stall because they can see your feet facing the other way. Anyway, I was ready to go. And then I go to register and I forgot to log in, Jared, into RK9. And so then it ate up 8 or 9 seconds. And then by the time I got into the queue, I didn't get in. I was devastated. Still enjoyed the concert, which was fine. We had a good time. But then I had one chance Wednesday morning. And, some work I do, we work with some school districts here in town, and we had some second graders coming to do a field trip. And, I have to do the dog and pony show a little bit with ask them questions. And it was like 8. I knew I was going to forget because it was right before 9 a.m. So I called my best friend and said, hey, man, can you help me out? Can you call me at 8:58 and I will step away to make sure I register? I asked him to do that. You know who forgot to call me at 8:58? Jared did. You forgot to call me. And then I looked down at my phone. It was 9:01. My heart sank. And I was like, I didn't get in. So I register. I'm in the queue. And I'm like, right, I'm not going. I'm going through all the things in my head. Is life worth living anymore? I'm trying to find joy. I'm like justifying it, like all the things that you go through the steps. And then it turned green and it said, click here for payment. I was in, I was golden, and I'm part of the 4,100, I think, masters in this tournament. It's almost 5,000 total competitors. Just crazy. So
I'd like to think that if I had reminded you, maybe you would have fallen into a different, more crowded queue. I personally think you are able to sneak into, like when demand is so high and they open up the extra line at the counter. I personally think that's what happened. You're welcome. And let's just move past this.
I've actually heard that strategy from I think Chip and Azul mentioned that on their podcast, where like sometimes if you wait a minute, it actually like bypasses all the people that got in right the second it opened, and it actually helps. So sure, you can tell yourself that.
That might be true. That's the only way I could justify it because I blanked.
Well, we have an infamous story of our life that it basically occurred when we were in college, and you used my toothbrush. And,
I've never used your toothbrush.
And I know
I have never used your toothbrush. Okay, I want to be very clear about that on this podcast for all of our viewers. I never have. I never will. It wasn't on purpose. It was never accidental. I've never used your toothbrush.
Yeah, I know, and that's the story we have to tell, and that's good. You didn't use my toothbrush, but we know you used my toothbrush, and this almost this almost superseded the toothbrush, which I didn't think there's anything that could ever take the toothbrush, but it almost did. But I got in, so it's fine. So we're good. But okay, wait. I got so excited about NAIC, we forgot to mention the last deck. But I'll tie it in here. We're professional podcasters, so we can do this. Going into NAIC, do you think this Joltik deck would have any validity in a tournament of this size? And I know we have one more set coming out before NAIC, but if we look at this Joltik deck that finished 7th, again, Jared, I know you said you were like surprised by it. If you're playing live, if you're playing live and you were ranking up if you were in the high 16s, low 17s in the ELO, you were hitting Joltik probably every 4 decks. And what Joltik does is 30 HP. It's a basic Pokemon. It says for colorless energy, search your deck for 2 basic leaf and 2 basic lightning and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. I can't remember an attack in our lifetime that did this that wasn't a like special attack, like a GX move or a V-Star. This is crazy. And I know it has 30 HP, so that's the balance here. But basically what they do is get Miraidon, then you get Iron Hands or Pikachu or whatever you want, whatever you need for that matchup. And then you just load it up with from the Joltik attack. So really by turn 3, or really turn 2, depending on if you go first or second, you're cooking. This deck needs to go second, though. If it goes first, it's not good. It struggles. It struggles because you can most of the time figure out a way to maybe kill Joltik. But I don't know, thoughts? Did you look this over? What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's just energy overload. The Crispins. Even throwing some like it just seems like it's gas, like all gas, no breaks. Like figure out your matchup turn 1. You see Gardevoir, okay, great. You see a Dreepy, great. I'm going hard Iron Hands, and we're going to end this game in 3 turns. The interesting inclusions for me that maybe you can help me figure out is if you could explain the Galvantula edition and maybe what that's in there to counter. And then is the Maractus in here just as a stall mechanism if things peter out and you don't get a good start? These are the questions that I would have for the Joltik box players. Yeah,
that's a good. You know what? I've never seen them actually evolve to this. So, the Galvantula attacks used by this Pokemon do 50 more damage to your opponent's active that has an ability, and its attack is 50, and then it does 80 more if it has a lightning energy attached to it. It's a 2 energy move.
Is this a Monkey Dory killer? Is this like I'm trying to think what is so like you need to do 130, but maybe it's because your Miraidon is doing 220. You're not knocking anything out for that, really. I'm wondering if this is just like an unexpected follow-up prize trade punch, or if this is specifically in here to counter a specific deck.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it one-shots Mew EXs, which is a more prevalent card. Like Gardevoirs are running a lot of Mew EX now, so it one-shots Mew EX because it'll do 130 plus 150 plus 50, so it'll hit 180.
Wait. How's it? It's 50 plus 80. Oh, plus the
50 plus 80.
I apologize. You're right.
Yeah. So it's hitting 180 against anything with an ability. Charizard isn't as popular anymore, but this one shots Charizard because it'll hit 180 and then you do the weakness 360.
That's true.
It gives you something there. I don't know. I guess if you just needed an extra card and you throw it in just to provide some sort of pressure as a pivot card, Jared, maybe that's it. Because really you look at this whole deck and it's all EXs. And so if you can apply pressure with this Galvantula that actually can do some damage, it forces your opponent to make a weird prize trade. So maybe that's the benefit by having it in there.
I'm going to tell you why I like this a lot. And kudos to the people that figured this deck out. Is we talk so much about how 2 things can be true. Miraidon in its traditional format is dead because Badoo kills off your generators. But in the same way that Gardevoir has evolved, this is Miraidon evolved. This is, I don't care. I'm going to get a Miraidon down. I'm going to find my Joltik. And I don't really care that I can't play a Nest Ball or a Buddy Buddy Poffin. Like, I'll find it anyway. I just need an energy because I believe the Joltix move is a colorless. Yep.
Yeah.
And so you just don't care, and then you're just going. Same thing here. I guess that's the justification of the Iron Leaves is I've got Leaf Energy, and it can be a tricky switch play that can do some damage. But yeah, I think this is really cool. I like it. I'm going to call it Miraidon Evolved. I know Joltik is kind of your primary card here, and that gives a lot of other people PTSD from years ago whenever a Joltik hits the field.
Oh, yeah. Awful.
The most scary 30 HP Pokemon of all time. But Corey, that's the age we're living in, man. 30 HP Pokemon right now are terrifying.
Yeah. You're talking about Night March is the deck you're referring to way back when. That's the last time Joltik was ever really important was then. But yeah, it's good. I was on such just a Gardevoir grind because I was trying to get to 1800 Elo. That I just didn't try other decks out. And so in the Gardevoir matchup, it felt pretty like, and I know it feels weird because Iron Hands typically has an advantage there, but I feel like I won a majority of the matches against Joltik. So I need to try it against with some other decks, and maybe it becomes more of a frustrating matchup. But anyway, we had to talk about that before we moved on, just because it stands out. I think my last point, and then if you want to say anything to wrap up Monterey, is if you look at the shares of day 2, you had Dragapult 26%, by far the most played deck yet again. And then Raging Bolt was second at 15.
I wanted to talk about this.
Well, then perfect. We'll wrap our 2 points together. Its best finish was 9th. And then there was 13th. And then Jared, if I'm still having to buy time, it's too far. Yeah, 33rd. I mean, so second most played deck, but didn't have very good results. What do you think? Why?
It doesn't do enough, Corey. Like it leverages what I think is one of the best supporters in the format right now, which but it hasn't evolved. It's still around, but looking at these deck lists, tell me what it's bringing to the table. That I get it. Some are going the Hoot Ogre Pond, like they're trying to adapt, but it's just like I don't see it. I would run Goldingo and do big damage. Or if you try to diversify it, I don't know, watch it win NAIC or the next regionals. But I love this deck. I enjoy playing this deck, but we always talk in other sports analogy. This is the best regular season deck.
Yeah.
That's out there. Once you get against top tier players, this deck does not offer enough diversification to compete with high level players playing Gardevoir, high level players playing Dragapult, or some of this awesome other stuff that we've seen come. It can get you so far.
It can. And it takes the cake for like, hey, if I get exactly what I want and you get exactly what you want, Raging Bolt probably wins. It's going to win. It's that powerful. And I think that's why it's intriguing to people, because it's, well, if the deck works how it's supposed to, I'm going to win a majority of my matches. And it draws. Sada's is so important. It can find any 2 trainer cards with the Hoots and the Noctowls. So like it has all these really cool mechanisms. It just lacks. Like my strategy every time, if they're going to drop 2 Hoots, you give them 1 Noctowl, and then if it's Gardevoir, you Screamtail and snipe the other one. Iono them to 4 or to 5. And then you just keep killing the Hoots. And it's really tough, I think, for this deck to find ways to keep going. If it can find it, then you're probably sunk. But it just, when you have to survive, Jared, off Sadas, like you have to play the Sadas every turn, you can't gust. And, this deck is going to run 1 Prime Catcher. The version that probably, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm so against flipping cards, but was like the ability to flip and then gust with the items. But and I'm blanking on the name of the card. That's why I didn't say it. What is that called? Not Counter Catcher, but whatever the flipping item card.
Oh, is that still playable?
Oh, maybe it's not playable anymore.
I think that may have gotten rotated. I didn't think there was a new catcher. I
Okay.
think it's just called Pokemon Catcher.
Pokemon catcher. Well, then I'm crazy. So, but yeah, I think that's what makes this tough because when they play Desadas, they're not going to play a boss, and you feel pretty safe there. So,
yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Sorry, Raging Bolt. Okay, final thoughts. Anything else?
I think Monterey and all of these other decks prove that I don't think we're ever going to see a Golden Go winner. I don't think we're going to see a Raging Bolt winner, even though there were Raging Bolt winners in the past when it was not up against the meta that it's up against currently right now. And then I just like the adaptability, though. For as much crap as I've talked about Raging Bolt, I like how people are trying to run Mew with Clefairy, with Lily's Clefairy. Like, people are finding ways, and I think that's going to continue to hurt Dragapult, and we're going to see some things because of that. If there won't be a deck or a new set moving forward where people don't immediately scroll to Psychic Pokemon to see if they can run, especially find a basic that can slot in there. I've thought about it. I've been driving in the car around Middle Tennessee, and I'm like, I kind of want to bring that old Cough Egregious back. Run that in there. Do what Dragapult does to itself, but it's not good enough. I'm past it. I'm past it, Corey.
Don't do it. If I see that at side events at NAIC, I'm gonna rip the cards out of your hands and then force you to play something else. That's what's gonna happen. I'm sorry, you can't play it. Okay, can I my final thought on this?
Yeah, come on.
Are you looking at the results here? Are you looking at Limitless? Go to 159th for me. Player 159th in this tournament.
Okay.
We got to shout him out. Every time we have to.
Oh, our boy, friend of the podcast, James Washer,
our idol, who we want to be when we grow up. It's not LeBron James. It's not I can't think of other people. It's not Tom Brady. I don't know. It's James Washer. We want to be James Washer when we get older. And kudos to James on Dragapult. Could have gotten a little more creative there, James. Come on, man. But hey, Dragapult.
Man's got to make it work. When you're day 2 in and James is probably in his 40s.
Probably maybe. Somewhere. We don't know James's official age. We don't know.
But he's definitely someone we look up to. Let the man, when you're that old by Pokemon age, let the man run what he wants to run.
Okay.
Let him do what he wants to do.
Fine. Let him run. Whatever.
Was there any other? I mean, we had the privilege, honestly, with this of having the Spice in our top 8. Honestly, like, what a pleasure. But was there anything else spicy that you saw looking through all of this that you're like,
last week I feel like you let me have it, but I feel like you weren't okay with me not including Mamoswine as the spice. And so I'll mention it again. Here it is. There was one of them in day 2. Your boy Mac, I think maybe inspired this guy Jose to run Mamoswine here. It's fine, but I just feel like I didn't include it last time, so I'll include it this time as far as spice goes. I can I say one more? Sorry, did you have one?
I do want to shout out the return of Future Box. I've always loved Future Box, both the Ancient and Future when those came out. Those have been some of my favorite Pokemon of the last decade.
Yeah.
So I got to shout out. I've been sitting in the back of my mind trying to figure out how to make this work, and love to see a day 2 Future Box.
Yeah, no, really cool. I've played against this deck a few times, but the Lily's Clefairy, like straight up Lily's, made one appearance here at the tournament into day 2. And it's actually it's a cool deck. We had 4 energy switches. It just moves those leaf energies from the teal mass ogre pawns to Lily's if it needs to. And this deck is all about loading up its bench. So if you have a full bench at 8, they have a full bench at 5. This thing is hitting 280. And, you're very, very close to getting to that 310, 320 number. That's super, super key. It just struggles to get up to that. Like if it could somehow find a way to 320, if your opponent was foolish enough, because you have area 0, and if it's Dragapult, I guess you're one-shotting Dragapult anyway, so it actually that doesn't matter. But if you're foolish enough to load up your bench too, then this Lily's Clefairy is cooking with just 2 energy attack. So
yes,
it's a fun deck. I've lost against it because I didn't really know what was happening, and then I realized, oh geez, it has 4 energy switches. But it's a fun deck, so I just wanted to shout it out.
I dig it. Monterey, great tournament, great turnout. I'm excited to see the scene in Mexico continue to grow.
Yeah, me too. Okay, Jared, upcoming. What do we have coming up here? We got this weekend. Oh, we have 2.
Seville.
Oh, Seville and Johannesburg. Okay.
Ooh.
What do we think? What do you think is going to happen in Spain? What do you think is going to happen in South Africa?
So correct me if I'm wrong, but these are both special events, not regionals.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's fun. I'm again another growing area for special events this season, and a lot of them upcoming, right? Like, especially in South Africa. So that's really exciting. Spain. I don't know, because you can't. What I think you and I have learned in the time that we're done it is you can't take what happens at a special event and replicate it at a tournament just because the numbers aren't there. Are we going to see some familiar faces in terms of decks? Yes, we're going to see Dragapult. We're going to see all of these different decks. Spice has a little higher opportunity because the numbers work out better where you don't have to run through as much of the meta or as many rounds. But I'm just going to play it safe for Seville and say that this is an established Pokemon country in Spain that's been playing this for years. Give me Dragapult. Give me Dragapult. Now, South Africa. Anything can happen in South Africa. You ever watched some of those videos of the great white sharks off the coast of South Africa? It's wild stuff. Wild stuff happens in South Africa, Corey. Some crazy stuff. So in South Africa, I'm thinking
Sharpedo.
Sharpie. Give me Sharpedo. No, I think give me something with Roaring Moon in it, man. You sold me today. On the Blissey with the tech, like I've always liked. I've said I like the ancient Pokemon. Yep. Give me something with Roaring Moon in it, taking it down in South Africa.
Okay, something with Roaring Moon in it. All right, I think Spain. It'll attract the wily European players, and I think the Terra Box is going to attract some high end. Maybe even Mr. Tord himself will escape the basement that he's in right now. And so give me Terra Box to win Spain. And you got to give me some leeway there. It could just give me that it's a box of Terra. And it could be a lot in there. So I guess that's a wide range. Give me Terra Box. I think that will stop the streak of Gardevoir of winning 2 in a row. I almost was going to take it for 3 in a row, but I think Terra Box wins. South Africa. I know you're talking about sharks and you're talking about Roaring Moon and Spice and all this stuff. I think it's Dragapult. It's going to be boring.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry.
That's not fun.
6 Dragapults in top 8. First, second, fourth, fifth, 8th. Oh wait, I need one more. 7th and 8th. I can't count. It's gonna win. It'll be a mirror match in top 8.
Oh, that's so funny.
In the finals.
I you know what's sad is I'm like seeing in my brain the Limitless page.
Yeah.
And I can see it. Like I can see exactly what you're talking about, and then we're like, well, this makes sense.
No fun.
This makes a lot of sense.
But maybe there'll be a Roaring Moon, and there'll be two dark, one dark energy, one luminous energy, and there'll be a Roaring Moon and Dragapult. Could happen.
I mean, where there is Monkey Dory, there can be Roaring Moon, Corey. Let's be honest with ourselves.
That's true. All right. Do you have an education for us today or no?
I do have a little education for us. Just a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but it's honestly inspired by what we see from Blissey. And I'm going to entitle this From the Stands to the Field. Because we always, and this harkens back to us talking about when rotations come out and how that unlocks things of past that were once dead. Reggie Drago is probably the best example of this. Reggie Drago was watching Pokemon for a long time. It was not playing.
That's true.
It was sitting
It
in
was
the
in the
stands.
stands.
It was in the stands watching it happen. It was locked away in somebody's Pokeball. And then certain cards came out that unlocked that deck. And I want to reiterate that for today, looking at this Blissey deck, because clearly there is a place in the meta and there are some cards that have come out that have unlocked this.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be very well aware of this. And this is a practice that if you're a Pokemon player, you want to go back through. We talked about your reminder binder was another great episode. Education.
Good
This
one.
is a very similar episode. Very, very similar education mindset for that. But you have to be ready for what's the name of the next set, Corey, that's coming out?
Destined Rivals.
Destined Rivals. Destined Rivals is right around the corner. We have a couple of regionals that are going to happen before that. Milwaukee is a great example of that. But you have to think about what's been sitting in the stands. And not just like what's bad. Everyone looked at Blissey when it first came out and tried to make it work and decided the meta said it's not going to work right now.
Yeah.
Right now, when you got 4 Monkey Dories in your deck and that little Badoo is everywhere, this is engaging, Corey. So that's just my brief reminder, a harken back from the stands to the field. Let's open our eyes up, listeners. Let's look at that binder. What came out when you looked at it? It dazzled your eyes, but it just wasn't time.
Oh my gosh! Yes,
and it's a coming of age story, Corey. It's a coming of age story.
I like that. It's like the Rudy. It's like the old Rudy.
It is Rudy.
Yeah, they're just in the locker room folding towels, and it's boring. And then finally we get in the game and record a sack, and it's like, yeah, Blissey's here. Yeah, I think it's what's old is, what did you say? Not what's old is new. You had another phrase for it. You just said it. No, it's left me. But it's like these cards that now you never use. Now they can be playable. But it's not just the fact that these cards are back. It's the fact that the meta shifts and allows a card like Blissey to be able to see its way back onto the field again. And coupled with its quarterback, Monkey Dory. Because let's not be mistaken. The four Blisseys are the linemen here. Monkey Dory is the running back. Monkey Dory is the quarterback. It's the wide receiver. It's the tight end. Those are the 4 Monkey Dorys. They're doing all the scoring here. The Blisseys are just in the way.
It's amazing.
But Jared, you win the game in the trenches, and that's where Blissey's at. So I like that. Okay. I like that. Good education today.
And I'll throw this out there because you have been spamming Pokemon Live. I have been grinding the Pokemon Pocket ladder.
Oh yeah.
And I think this is a key differentiation we need to talk about as the games exist right now. What's great about Live and the actual game is you just have so many cards and so many options that you can look back on and you can make things work.
Yeah.
It's a huge plus in my mind if you're going to play a game and you're looking for a library of options. The traditional TCG and Live have that right now. We're 4 or 5 sets into Pokemon Pocket right now. The meta is the meta, and there's not enough to go back and look at to really change that right now. Some people will like that. There's a lot of other things. But in going through this and talking with you, that's what I personally love about the game itself. People like in Magic, and other people can agree with this, is like when there's so many options, there's room for things to scoot in that are unseen. It's why Corey and I love rogue decks. It's why we've played the things that we've played for so many years, because it's very clear what the best is. And when there's so many cards, you just can't see all of the mathematical possibilities of what can work.
Yeah, you really can't. And that's what makes this game fun, man. That's why it's hard to quit it. It's why my wife is like, "Why do you do this still? Aren't you in your 30s?" I'm like, "Yeah." So
mid 30s.
Mid.
Mid-30s.
Well, yesterday she's like, we're in our upper 30s now. I'm like, geez,
Oh.
it don't matter. In 10 years, the average age of the Pokemon player will be 38. So it's fine. We're just all going to keep moving on up with the game. Prize money will be $19 million. Like how we, if you get approved to buy a home will be based on your standings, your current master standings. I mean, that's just where we're going, Jared. Do we not watch Black Mirror?
I gotta throw out some love and drive home this point. Yesterday, there's a store in town called Grand Slam Collectibles. They just upgraded their space. Corey, it's a really great space. I believe they have a social media presence as well. The entire front thing that you walk into, it's this kind of this giant counter that goes around the middle. Sports is not in the middle, and the first thing that you see when you walk in there. It's all Pokemon.
Yeah.
It is all Pokemon. Pokemon is it's easily half the store. And do they have some great sports stuff? And you and I love sports as well. Yes, but collectibles is hot right now. Pokemon is hot right now. Let's keep riding the wave, whether you're a junior and it's your first year and you're 7-8 years old, or for us, you know, getting older guys.
Getting older. Jared, I can't believe I did not say I was gonna lead with this, and then I totally got off track. There's this this ranking going on around Twitter right now. And I wanted to quiz you because you and I love a good quiz.
I love a quiz.
Love a good test here. And so because the NAIC registration was so high, people started looking at the top 16 TCG events, and that's all properties, of the highest attendance at those events. What ranks the highest of all time outside of Asia? So don't count Japan because that they live in another planet over there. But if you count just North America, no, I'm sorry, anywhere in the world, just not Asia. Okay. What is number one? And you have to tell me the card game and how many players, and I'll give you within 100, how many players were at that tournament. This is number one all time.
I gotta believe it's a Magic tournament. Magic the Gathering. And
Magic Grand Prix in Vegas, 2015.
I will say there was 8,500 people.
Close-ish. 7,500 players. 7,500. That's number one. What do you think number two is?
2 is probably a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament.
It's still Magic.
Oh, okay. I thought we were switching. Yeah. It's still Magic.
Still Magic.
Okay.
This is also Vegas, 2013. So 2 years before the biggest one.
7K.
Huge drop off. And I would love to have a Magic person on here to talk why. But 4,492 was second all time. That's almost a 3,000 player difference between number one and number two. So I don't know why. We're not Magic professionals here, but that's why. Or that's the number.
Sorry, it keeps cutting out on me.
Sorry, what did you hear me say? Did you hear me say the amount?
I heard the amount, but that's smaller than some of the numbers we've seen from Japanese.
No, remember outside Asia. This doesn't count Asia.
Oh, I didn't hear that. It cut out during that.
Oh,
so this is
I'm sorry.
Of Asia.
Outside of Asia. This is anywhere else in the world except Asia. Okay. Give me number 3. This is a different game now. What do you think number 3 is? And this will be the last one. Then I'll wrap it up.
I'm sticking with Yu-Gi-Oh. Maybe it's another Magic, but I'll say Yu-Gi-Oh.
You're correct. In Long Beach, the LBC with Snoop Dogg, 2012. How many players?
3,500.
4,364. It starts to get very close here. So I know. Anyway, number 4 all time, Magic. And then number 5 all time, Magic. And then you see number 6 here, Pokemon EUIC London this year, 3,968. It's 6th. You go down the list, you get Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. So 7, 8, 9. And then 10th place is a regionals in Atlanta. That happened 2 weekends ago. That is number 10 all time. And I will say, Jared, what's interesting about this is because it's Magic Grand Prix, Yu-Gi-Oh Championships, Grand Prix, and EUIC Championships, Grand Prix, and then a regional. So this is technically the highest ever from a non-championship level tournament. So then 11th is Yu-Gi-Oh, and then 12th Pokemon, 13th Pokemon, 14th is Magic, 15th Pokemon, 16th Pokemon. But what's interesting about these Pokemon tournaments, it's all this year and last year, 2024 and 2025. So it's on the rise. Once NAIC happens, depending on where this finishes, that will be number 2 all time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, it's in the middle of that store. What's the name of that store again? Grand Slam Collectibles?
Grand Slam Collectibles.
Maybe our newest sponsor. Maybe we should reach out. Grand Slam Collectibles, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. They know what's up. They're not stupid. Put Pokemon in the middle of the store. That's what you do.
Let's go.
Cool.
Let's go.
All right, my friend. Our internet's lagging. We're lagging. We got to wrap up. And as always, we'll catch you later.
You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com. Teach Me Pokemon Podcast. Come and dive with us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.